Okay, here we go. Welcome everyone to another free webinar brought to you by optionslam.com. Please read and understand the CFTC rule before you risk your hard-earned money in the markets. Our disclaimer tells you that we are not licensed financial advisors. We are not registered investment advisors. We do not provide investment or financial advice, nor do we make investment recommendations. The webinars given and provided here are for educational purposes only. I am Marco, and this is my email address, optionslam.com@gmail.com. Love to hear from you. Feel free to shoot me an email with your questions, your suggestions. Many times these webinars are motivated by questions that come in by email, as is today's webinar about the exercise and assignment process. I don't know that we've ever talked about this. If we have, it was probably not, certainly not in as much detail as we will be covering today. Hi, Burkhard. Hi, Tio. Got a lot of names in the attendance field here. A lot of recognized names. Thanks for everybody being here. This subject is important. You've all seen this screen before, and based on today's topic, this becomes very relevant. Options are contracts. Buyers of options have rights. A buyer of a call option has the right to buy the stock. A buyer of a put option has the right to sell the stock. What's the rest of that sentence? At the strike price on or before the expiration date. The right to buy the stock at the strike price on or before the expiration date. The right to sell the stock in the case of a put at the strike price on or before the expiration date. The seller of those options has the obligation to sell the stock in the case of a call at the strike price on or before the expiration date, and the seller of the put option has the obligation to buy the stock at the strike price on or before the expiration date. Options are contracts. That's why they are called option contracts. When you buy an option, you're buying it, you're entering into a contract, you are entering into an agreement, a contractual agreement, enforceable. In fact, when you opened up your brokerage account, you agreed to many things. All those paragraphs that you didn't read, and you checked the box that you did read it, and in fact, you understood it, those are now in force. When you buy a contract, you have a right. When you sell a contract, you have obligations. There are two kinds of options. European, we will not be discussing today. They cannot be exercised early. This is one of the biggest differences between European style and American style options. American style options are subject to early exercise. European options settle in cash. Now you can close a European option early. You can buy an option and then sell it, or you can short an option, a European option, and then buy it back to close it early. but it cannot be exercised early. American options are subject to early exercise. Now, if you're the buyer of an option, a put or a call, American, you have no worries about early exercise. You have the right to impose exercise, but no one can exercise against you. You own the contract. You have the rights. Only the seller of options, calls, and puts are subject to the whims of the buyer of that option, the counterparty. When are we at risk of early exercise or assignment? If you are long the option, you are not at risk. If you have control whether to exercise or not. Only if you are short the option are you at the whims of the buyer of that option. Short contracts are obligated to buy or sell 100 shares per contract. Okay, to buy or sell, depending on whether you are short a put or a call, to put that in order. So if you are short a put, you are obligated to buy the stock. If you are short a call, you are obligated to sell the stock. Scenario 1, you own 200 shares of XYZ stock. Now, throwing a little stock shares into the mix here. Okay, now we're just going to go into this just a little bit here. Now we're going to mix in the ownership of shares of XYZ stock as if, and in this example, you are short one call contract of XYZ stock. So what is that? That's what is commonly known as a covered call. This trader owns 200 shares of XYZ, and he sells a call contract of XYZ, which represents 100 shares. So therefore, he has one covered call, plus he owns an extra 100 shares of stock on top of that covered call position. Covered call is simply the ownership of 100 shares of stock and simultaneously engaging in selling a call against that stock. The counterparty exercises against you. What happens? Money is deposited into your account equivalent to the strike price, and the contract is closed. The contract no longer exists. The counterparty exercised against you for whatever reason. Maybe you got exercised because the options went into expiration date, or there was an early exercise due to a dividend, or the counterparty was not a very smart trader and didn't understand. This has happened to me before, where I got exercised against, and it really didn't make sense. I couldn't understand why they exercised against me. And the only explanation was that the counterparty didn't understand that they were giving up money when they exercised against me. I will go into that in more detail coming up here soon. So what happens? Money is deposited into your account equivalent to the strike price. The contract is closed. Your broker transfers 100 shares of XYZ stock to the counterparty. Okay, so stock positions are created through the exercise process. Options get converted into stock positions, either long or short. That is what the exercise and assignment process does. It converts an option, closes it, it ceases to exist. That contract, once exercised, no longer exists. And instead, stock positions are created in the parties' accounts. One goes long, the other goes short, depending on whether it was a put or a call. You are left with the cash put into your account at the strike price and 100 remaining shares of stock. In this example, where you own 200 shares of XYZ stock and you shorted one call contract and that call got exercised, the money gets put into your account and the 100 shares of XYZ stock are called away from you. So you are left now with only 100 remaining shares of stock and the cash for the sale of the other 100 shares. But the cash was at the strike price, not at the price of whatever the stock is trading at today. This will become more clear as we move forward. Scenario 2. You are short one call contract, but you do not own the stock. You don't own. This is maybe a little more straightforward. This is what traders fear, though, not only on the call side, but on the put side as well. Why? Due to overnight or weekend risk. We'll discuss this in more detail later as well. Overnight and weekend risk. You are short one call contract in this example, but you do not own the stock. You are exercised against or some exercise assignment process. Money is deposited into your account equivalent to the strike price times 100. Okay, because one contract covers 100 shares of stock. One option contract, except in special circumstances, is controlling 100 shares of stock. So therefore, it's the strike price times 100. You become short 100 shares of stock in your account. You get the money put into your account. The counterparty who exercised against you puts up that money that gets put into your account, and you become short 100 shares of stock. You have a stock position short 100 shares. Let's look at some examples. You're short a call at the 100 strike. Stock goes to 95. Option expires worthless. You are short a call at the 100 strike. Stock goes down to 95. Options expiration day arrives. Stock's at 95. Option expires worthless. Nobody's going to exercise that against you. Why would they force you to take the stock? You're short a call at the 100 strike, right? And the stock goes to 95. Well, that's out of the money. Why would they force you to buy the stock at 95 Well, they'd force you to buy the stock at 100. They'd put you're short a call, so you get okay. Sorry, I got a little jumbled up there. So why would they exercise against you to have you call the stock away from you at 100 when they can go out into the open market and buy the stock for $95? That would be silly, right? If they wanted to buy the stock, they wouldn't exercise their option at 100 at the 100 strike, paying $100 for the option when they can just go into the open market and buy the stock for $95. Prior to expiration day, there is zero risk of early assignment if the stock is out of the money. Okay? The stock is out of the money. Excuse me, the option is out of the money When the stock is at 95, there is zero risk of early assignment. Why would someone exercise the buy the stock at 100 when it is trading on the open market for 95? Same scenario, short the 100 call, but price goes to 105. Okay? Now, early exercise is highly unlikely. Why? Well, now the option is in the money. But early exercise is still highly unlikely because there is extrinsic premium in the 100 call, even up until the final minutes on expiration day. For someone to exercise means they will give up that extrinsic premium value. More on this later. When a call buyer exercises his option, the contract ends. It ceases to exist. She buys 100 shares of the stock at the strike price. Okay? Call buyer exercises his option or her option, and the contract ends. What happens? She buys 100 shares of the stock at the strike price. The seller delivers 100 shares of stock at the strike price. If the seller has the stock already in his account, it will be taken out of his account to satisfy the contract in the increment of 100 shares. If the seller does not own the stock in his account, he will sell it at the strike price regardless, under contract to do so, thereby becoming short the stock in his account. When a put buyer exercises his option, the contract ceases to exist. She sells 100 shares of the stock at the strike price. She has the right to sell 100 shares. She bought a put. She chose to exercise. She has the right to sell that stock at the strike price. Even if the stock is trading below the strike price, in fact, especially if the stock is trading below the strike price, she has the right to go ahead and exercise that, sell you the stock for the strike price, and then she can buy it back on the open market for a lesser amount, thereby locking in her profits. The seller purchases those 100 shares of the stock at the strike price. The seller of the option, that is forced to purchase those 100 shares of the stock at the agreed upon strike price. And if the put buyer has the stock already in her account, it will be used to satisfy the contract. If the put buyer does not own the stock in her account, she will sell it at the strike price, thereby becoming short the stock at the strike price. But, like I mentioned, she can go out into the open market and buy it back to cover her short position at a lower price, thereby locking in her profit. But again, early exercise is very unlikely. It is rare. It only happens in certain circumstances, which we will discuss. I already mentioned one, that's uneducated options traders. This is very rare for someone to exercise just because they're ignorant of how options work. But that's why we're having this class, to make sure you're not going to be that person, right? To help you avoid that mistake. All right, exercise examples. Buyer exercises. 50 call. Here's a specific example. Buyer, 50 call. The $50 call. A buyer purchases 100 shares of stock at the $50 each. Okay, so that would be $5,000, right? Buyer exercises. The buyer of the call option, in this example, exercises. The buyer gets the right to buy the stock at $50, even if the stock is trading at $60. Okay? That's why someone would exercise. The stock is trading at 60. The owner of that option owns the call at 50, or the 50 strike, could exercise that option, buy the stock for 50, quickly turn around and sell that same 100 shares of stock in the open market for $60, thereby locking in her profit. Another example. Seller is assigned and becomes short 100 shares at $50 each. Okay, so that's where the stock comes from. It comes out of the seller of the call contract. Okay, the $50 call has a buyer and a seller, and the buyer exercises and the stock comes out. The seller only gets $5,000 put into his account, even though the stock is trading for $60. Okay, another example. The $30 put, for example. Exercise examples. The buyer decides to exercise the 30 put. The buyer sells 100 shares of stock to the seller of that option at $30 each. The seller is assigned and becomes long 100 shares at $30 each. Even if the stock is trading for 20, the seller has to pay $30 because he's under contract and obligated to do so. He sold the $30 put option. Now he may choose to, now he's long the stock. He's long 100 shares of stock. He has choices. He can sit there and just hope the stock comes back up to 30, or maybe even goes up to 40 and realize a profit. Or if the stock continues to go down, his situation gets worse. He's long 100 shares of stock at $30. He paid $30 for those shares, and the stock continues to tumble. Or he might decide to become a covered call player. He could start selling calls against his 100 shares of stock, like we saw in an earlier slide, where you own the stock and then you sell calls against it. And this is called the covered call strategy. Automatic exercise. If a stock option expires in the money, ITM, it will be automatically exercised. It will be automatically exercised. There's no doubt about it. Your broker will, whether it's a put or a call, and it's in the money, it will be exercised. So by letting options go into expiration, by letting your options go into expiration, you are exposed to this phenomenon, even if only by a penny. Even if your option is in the money only by 1 penny, it is likely to be auto-exercised, even if the stock closes exactly at the strike price. Even if it's not in the money by 1 penny, even if, let's say, the $50 call or the $50 put, and the stock closes on expiration Friday at $50, it is possible that will get exercised. If it expires in the money by 1 penny or more, it is inevitable that it will get exercised. Therefore, you will end up with a position, long or short, stock position, that is. You will end up with a stock position, long or short, by allowing your in-the-money option to expire. Okay, I see your question. Tio and Herman, I hope that I'll satisfy your request as well. We're doing pretty good on time here. but there's a lot to cover. So let's keep rolling. And I appreciate the questions coming in. Go ahead and type your questions in. I'll try to get to those at the end of the session. And if I don't answer anyone's question satisfactorily, please email me and let me know that you need more information. I've been known to get on private webinars with traders to clear up any questions. Now, what happens if there's not enough money in your account to absorb the stock purchase or the sale of stock? You don't have enough money in your account to be short shares, 100 shares of XYZ stock. Or you don't have enough money in your account to purchase the shares of XYZ stock, and you get exercised against. If you don't have enough money in your account, you will be exercised. You will still be exercised. It will still happen, even if you don't have enough money in your account. But your phone will ring or your email will blow up. You will be contacted promptly by your brokerage firm, letting you know that you need to close that position or otherwise rectify the situation. Some brokerages will close it for you. They won't even give you the option. If you don't act promptly enough, some brokerages will just step in and close the position for you. This could be to your advantage or to your disadvantage, very likely to your disadvantage. In other words, locking in a loss. So that's the simple answer. If you don't have enough money, you can still enter into contracts. But if you get assigned, you can still short puts and calls, but if you get assigned, your brokerage is going to insist that you close the position. And in extreme cases, closing the position may not be enough. You may be obligated to pony up the difference in cash. Buyers of options rarely exercise their right to do so. There's the good news, okay? Buyers of options rarely exercise their right to do so. When an option is exercised, it converts to short or long shares. But in the conversion, the extrinsic value inside the option, let's not forget, options consist of intrinsic and extrinsic value. In the money options, let me rephrase that. In the money options consist of intrinsic and extrinsic value. Out of the money options have no intrinsic value. They have only extrinsic value. Only time premium for out of the money options. The extrinsic value in an in the money option that is exercised is forfeited. That's why I said that it happened to me one time when someone exercised against me. I can't remember if it was a put or a call. It was a long time ago. And they gave up a lot of premium in extrinsic value to do so. It was silly, I thought. Any option owner, long options, would be smarter to sell the option, thereby capturing the intrinsic and the extrinsic value of that option. Okay? Example. Stock is at 406.66. I didn't just pick that number. That happens to be where the SPY was this morning. It's kind of an ominous number with a 666 in it, isn't it? But it just happened to be the price of the SPY at the time I captured a screenshot of the options chain with 3 days to expiration. And let me see if I can pull that up. I don't think I have that screenshot live on my desktop right now. Hang on just a quick moment and I'll find it. I'm still here. I'm going to find that screenshot. All right. Okay, so the data on the table in the PowerPoint presentation is from this screenshot from earlier this morning when the SPY was trading at 406.66. And I'm focused on the calls here only. I'm focused on the 406 call, the 400 call, and the 395 call. Okay, and here's the mark price. So that's the midpoint price between the bid and the ask. So there's the mark, and the mark at the time the 395 call was trading for $11.85. Okay, midpoint between the bid and the ask. $11.66 of that was in the money. So that 95 call was $11.66 of intrinsic value. But the option was trading for $11.85, 19 cents higher than the intrinsic value. 19 cents of extrinsic time premium value in the 395 call. This was about, I'd say, maybe 2 hours ago. Is there a timestamp on this? Regardless. All right, so let's look at the table. The 395 call, trading for $11.85, has $11.66 of intrinsic value. If someone exercises, they will collect the $11.66 of intrinsic premium. They will give up the extrinsic premium, thereby losing or giving away $19, and just doesn't make sense, right? Why would someone exercise that and give up this $19 of extrinsic premium when they could just go into the open market and sell the contract for the full $11.85 instead of collecting only the $11.66 of intrinsic value? Now, the 400 call also in the money, okay, not as deep in the money, but still in the money. The 400 call was pricing at $7.17. $6.66 exactly, because the stock is at 406.66. So $6.66 of that ominous number again, is intrinsic value. There is extrinsic premium time value of 52 cents. If someone were to exercise their option today, they'd be giving up $52 of extrinsic value. It would be silly to exercise that option when they could just go into the open market and sell the option, collecting the $6.66 plus the 52 cents for the total value of $7.17. And the at the money call, 406, is only slightly in the money. How much in the money is it when the stock is trading at 406.66? You guessed it, 66 cents of intrinsic value. But the option is trading for 247 with only 3 days left to go. Why would somebody go ahead and exercise that option to only get the intrinsic value and give up $1.81, $181? of extrinsic premium? Just doesn't happen. Now, granted, the further deeper in the money that call option becomes, the less extrinsic value there is. And there are cases. So this is another example. Let me just throw out this other example of when an early exercise is possible. And that is not in the SPY, because the SPY is highly liquid. Even deep in the money options are trading fairly liquid. But in less liquid stocks where the bid-ask spread is very wide and there's not a lot of options buyers and sellers out there, there's not a lot of open interest, there's not a lot of volume, you're talking about illiquid stocks and a deep in the money option, and you're trying to close that option, and you can't get the extrinsic premium out of it because there's no one on the other side to take the other side of your position. You find yourself in a predicament where you feel pressure to go ahead and exercise your option. Exercise your right to exercise. Okay? So that is a scenario in which early exercise is possible. And to reiterate, that would be a deep in the money option. That is something that's carrying a high delta, usually 80 or 90 plus. I guess it could happen with something even lower deltas than that, but I don't know. Okay. And it's fairly illiquid, and you can't find someone. You want to get out of this position, you want to lock in your profits, okay? Or you want to close the position for whatever reason. Okay, that would be a scenario where an early exercise is possible. All right, moving on. Assignment is a random process. Who gets assigned? Again, we're talking about short contract holders. In other words, you sold the contract, you sold the put, or you sold the call. Someone exercises against you. You are assigned stock, either long or short, depending on whether you were short a put or a call. You are not singled out, as much as you might think so, as a target and the market's out to get you. No, it's a random process. You are not picked out or singled out. The OCC, the OCC, Options Clearing Corporation, receives exercise notices at the expiration of options. Upon every Friday, when weekly options expire, every third Friday of the month, when monthly options expire, the OCC receives exercise notices or early exercise every day. If someone physically orders an exercise, and by the way that's done is just to contact your broker and have them do it. Tell your broker you want to exercise your option. Some brokers allow you to exercise online without making a phone call. Other brokers require a phone call. But the OCC gets a notice, and they randomly select short contract holders. They just look at the pool of everyone who's short that contract. Okay? They get a notice that someone wants to exercise their $50 call option that they own. They look and see who's short the $50 call with the same expiration date, and then they pick names out of the hat, basically. Not literally, but electronically. They randomly select short contract holders. The selected accounts receive stock positions, long or short, as detailed earlier in this broadcast. Dividends, however, increase the possibility of early exercise. Owners of dividend-paying stocks get a share of a company's profits in the form of dividends. Okay? That's what dividend-paying stocks are. They pay to their stockholders. If you own 100 shares of a stock or 1 share of a stock, or regardless of how many shares of stock you own, you get paid a share of the company's profits in the form of a dividend. Oftentimes, these dividends are paid most commonly quarterly. Some stocks pay monthly. Some stocks pay annually. Most common is quarterly. In order to collect the dividend, you must own the stock in your account on X dividend day. You don't get paid the dividend until payday. But you need to own the stock ahead of payday. I'm going to call it payday. You need to own the stock on X dividend day in order to qualify to collect the dividend come some weeks later on the payday of that dividend, the payable date, we'll call it. Likelihood of early assignment. Short option is out of the money. We're going to talk more about the dividend situation here coming up. But let's stick with this. Short option is out of the money. What is the likelihood of early assignment? Short option is out of the money. Almost zero chance of early exercise. There is almost zero chance. Short option is in the money, but it has considerable extrinsic value, like that table we saw with where did that go? Oh, okay. Okay, so this options chain. Okay. The at the money option has lots of extrinsic value. In the money 400 only has 51 cents of extrinsic value. Deeper in the money with a 93 delta has only 19 cents of extrinsic premium. Short option is in the money, but has considerable extrinsic value. Possible to get early assignment, but still unlikely. Short option is in the money with very little extrinsic value, like that 395 call in that options chain that we just saw. It's possible and more likely to get early assignment, but still pretty insignificant risk of early assignment. Why would anyone want to give up that $19 of premium? The most likely scenario of early assignment is stock going ex dividend, and a short call option is in the money with less extrinsic value than the dividend amount. Okay, say it again. A stock is going ex dividend. All right. Tomorrow is ex dividend date, and a short call option is in the money, but it has not very much extrinsic value. It's deep in the money. It's not like that 406 call, or was it the 306, where it had $1.81 of extrinsic value, right? Where the in the money with less extrinsic value than the dividend amount. The dividend payment will outweigh the losses of forfeiting the extrinsic value to the option owner, that call owner. And this is only attributable, by the way, this is only relevant in calls, not in puts. Okay, dividend Ex-dividend date, if you are short a put, no one's going to put the stock to you so that you can collect the dividend, okay? They're not going to do that. It's only in a short call that they're going to call the stock away from you so that they can collect the dividend. And they can justify that if the dividend is paying more than the extrinsic value that they're going to be giving up by exercising that option early. We're going to look at examples. Before we do, though, we need to be aware of overnight and weekend risk. This is an additional risk that you take on when you expose yourself to exercise. What does that mean? Well, the stock may gap up or gap down overnight between the time it closed on whatever day it is. Let's talk about an early exercise on a Wednesday evening, right? And you get exercised, whether it be a call or a put, that stock could open up Thursday morning at a very different price than it closed on Wednesday night. And that could be to your advantage or it could be to your great disadvantage. This may benefit your position or just as easily it could hurt your position. This is what we refer to as oftentimes as weekend risk, or in the case of early assignment, even overnight risk. The good news? Options are rarely early exercised, except in the situations that I've mentioned. This is a great read. I don't have time to read through this right now, today, for sure. But this is a great read. I don't know if this is clickable on your, but you might just want to take a screenshot of this. It's a great read and a great example brought to you by Fidelity regarding dividends and multiple different scenarios of what can happen in a short call position when ex-dividend date is imminent. Okay, so all right, now we're starting to run out of time. Before I told you last webinar that the Double Eagle webinar was going to be today, and in the meantime, we reassessed our situation, and we have moved the Double Eagle workshop forward about a month to begin on May 15th, and we will have an introductory webinar provided available for your viewing on May 4th. The Double Eagle is my personal core strategy. And there is not a day in the year that goes by which I do not have at least some of these Double Eagle trades live in my account. That's literally 365 days a year. I have Double Eagle trades on, sometimes as many as 15 or 20 of them, more often 6, 8, or 10 of them, and in slow times maybe only 1 or 2. But I always have Double Eagle positions on in my account, and I know many of you do too. So back to the subject at hand. I apologize for the postponement of that, but I thought I needed to get that cleared up for you and let you know why we changed the program. So now, let's see, I think that's the end of the slides. And yeah, and so let's talk about Oracle. ORCL, this is the Thinkorswim trading platform live right now. Although I don't see, is it live? It is live, right? Or is this, okay, I guess the way to see, yeah, this is live. I just didn't see price moving. Is Oracle halted? 74.16 by 74.17. Okay, so Oracle, in your Thinkorswim platform, you can use this button either in the Analyze tab or in the Trade tab. Either way, you get the same options chain. And Oracle, if you click this down button right here, you get some more information. Okay? Ex-dividend date, April 7th, 2021. Tomorrow is ex-dividend date. If you are short calls in Oracle, you need to be concerned because you are subject to the possibility of early exercise. So let's do an exercise about early exercise. Let's see, I want you guys to type in the room and let's take a look at option chain that expires in 3 days. And let's look at the options. And we can see here the marked price, the midpoint between the bid and the ask, very tight bid ask, the at the money strike of, let's see, 74 is the at the money, slightly in the money, 56 by 59, 57.50 being the mark. The calls are trading for 58 cents. I could freeze this screen, probably would make it easier. But I want you guys to type in and tell me which options, which call options, again, put options are not subject to early exercise due to the ex-dividend date being tomorrow. But short call options are. Which short call options are at the risk of being exercised tomorrow? The dividend being paid tomorrow, or not being paid tomorrow, but earning the right to get paid the dividend on a payable date is 32 cents. Can anyone please type in the room, type in your chat box, which options are not going to get exercised overnight tonight? And I'll give you a clue. Look at the extrinsic value compared to the dividend being paid out. Anyone? Which of these call options, and the clue is look at the extrinsic value, which option is not subject to getting exercised? 73 strikes and below are exercisers. Yes, John. 73 and below are all less than the dividend amount. Therefore, it makes sense for someone to call that stock away from you at 73 or 72 or 71, okay? Because they're only giving up hardly any extrinsic value. However, to exercise the 74, thanks Alexander, thanks Jay, thanks everyone. No one got it wrong, everyone got it right. Thanks everyone. Now, be aware, this can change, as we just saw it change now from 40 cents down to 38 cents. And if price continues to go up, this becomes deeper in the money. The 74 strike becomes deeper in the money, and it possibly could have extrinsic value less than 32 cents by the end of the day. Now, these are the options that expire in 3 days. let's take a look at options that expire in 10 days. What if you're short not the options that expire this Friday, but the options that expire the third Friday of the month, next Friday, April 16th? Different picture here, a little bit different picture here. Now we have some more strikes introduced that were not, I didn't think there were 73. Were there 50-cent strikes here? Yeah, there is a couple. There's a couple of 50-cent strikes here. All right, so let's go back to the options that expire next week and take a look. The 74 here now has 81 cents. Now I'm feeling pretty confident that I'm not in danger of an early exercise, because my 74 strike that doesn't expire until next week has enough extrinsic premium that I'm not in danger of someone giving up 81 cents to collect only 32. However, this one, the 73, is right on, teetering on the fence at 35 cents. And this one has fallen over to the other side. This one is definitely going to be exercised early if stock closes where it's trading now at the end of the day. Someone will gladly give up 19 cents to collect 32. Okay? All right. Let's see. Let me just quickly glance here now at the questions in the room. We've got a few minutes left here, and let's see if there's any questions that I don't feel I've already answered. Okay, T.O. asks, is the seller of the call also required to immediately buy the 100 shares of stock? Okay, so in other words, here's the question. I'll rephrase it for you. I'm sure I understand what this means. So someone sold a call. They got exercised against. They are now short 100 shares of stock. Do they have to sell? Do they have to buy those shares back? Or can they wait? Well, no, if they've got the money in their account, T.O., they can wait. They can wait as long as they want. They're short the calls. They're short the stock. The stock has been called away from them. In the case of a call being exercised, same with a put. In the case of a put being exercised, in that case, they are put the stock. So now they were exercised on a short put. The stock, now they become long the stock. They are forced to buy the stock at the strike price. And no, there's no, as long as they have enough money in their account, no problem. Hold it as long as you like. And in fact, you can use that stock now. It's just like buying stock outright. You can use that stock to do a covered put against, for example. Or if you're long the stock, you can do a covered call. If you're short the stock, you can do what's known as a covered put. Or many other strategies. So, okay, excellent, Michael. Excellent. I'm so glad you brought that up. I forgot to include that in my PowerPoint. Michael says, what about verticals that are in the money? How does assignment work? That's a great question, Michael, and I meant to put that in the PowerPoint, but I forgot to. So in a vertical situation, you have the answer to this question could be rather lengthy, actually, but let me try to get to the point. All right, so let's look at an example. All right, there's another stock coming up that already, CMCSA. By the way, I just want to point out that CMCSA went ex-dividend date today, so it's too late to protect your short call options in CMCSA. If you had a short call option in CMCSA, it went ex-dividend today. So the last opportunity, before I get to your question, Michael, I just want to clear up one last thing here, and that is ex-dividend date. you need to act before ex-dividend date, because it's the night before when those options are going to get exercised. So these got exercised last night, okay, on CMCSA due to ex-dividend date. And I'd have to go, I don't know where the stock was trading yesterday. All right, so now let's talk about, in the case of a vertical spread. All right, let's look at an option where we have a vertical spread, and let's look at a simple to understand long call vertical spread. All right, so I am long the 53.50, and I am short the 55. Okay, I'm long a contract that is, let's see, this 55 could quickly go in the money, but I should have chose a different one. Let me choose the 55.50 so we don't run the risk of it going in the money while we're talking about it. Okay, so we're long the 53.50 and we're short the 55.50. And in our pretend world, options are expiring today. Okay, we're fast forwarding to Friday, and we're just going to pretend that today is options expiration day. I'm involved in a vertical spread. I own a call. It's in the money. It's definitely going to be exercised. And I am short a call that's out of the money. It's definitely not going to be exercised. Plain and simple, right? We agree on that. Well, in this situation, I am going to be exercised. I'm going to buy the stock at 53.50. I'm going to get 100 shares. I'm going to pay 53.50 for it. And Monday morning, because remember, pretending today is Friday, Monday morning, I'm going to have 100 shares of stock in my account, and I will have been removed cash out of my account of $5,350. They will take $5,350 out of my account and give me in return 100 shares of stock. The 55.50 expires worthless, so I don't need to worry about that in the case of this long call vertical spread. It just goes away. Now, what happens? I have the stock at 53.50. If the stock opens up Monday morning at 54.95, great. It opens up right where it closed today, and I can sell the stock, thereby locking in my profit from 53.50 all the way up to 54.96. Okay? Or I can just hold the stock if I'm bullish the stock, or do whatever I want, turn it into a covered call position. Okay, I'm going to get auto exercise, because I own the 53.50 in the money call. All in the money options, whether you're long or short, will get exercised. Okay, in the money options will get exercised whether you're long or short. Now let's turn this around and sell that vertical spread. Now in this example, now I'm short the 53.50 and long the 55.50, okay? This is a great topic, so stick with me here. In this example, again, this is the 53.50 that's going to get exercised, but this time I'm short, so I am going to become short stock. Okay, they're going to take that stock away from me, and they're only going to give me 53.50 for it. Okay, and the 55.50 expires worthless. Nothing's going to happen with the 55.50. I'm short the stock. I'm short the call. They're going to call that stock away from me. They're going to give me $5,350 into my account, and I will have a short call position, a short stock position, replacing the option, converting the option into a short stock position. All right. Now, that's in the case that one option expires in the money and one option expires out of the money. Let's look at another scenario. What if I am long the 55.50 and short some other strike in a out of the money call spread, vertical bull call spread, if you will. Both options, it's Friday, 4 o'clock Eastern time. Market closes. Both options are out of the money. You do not need to do anything. You do not need to close this position. Both options are going to expire worthless. Okay? You don't need to spend the commission money to close either one of those. They're both expiring worthless. They're both out of the money. They both go away. Okay? And in another scenario, I'm long a in the money option. I'm long the 51, and I'm short the 53. And it's Friday at closing time, and both options are expiring in the money. They're both in the money. Both options get exercised, right? Both options go into the exercise and assignment process. They will cancel each other out inside of your account. You will get stock put to you at $51 and then called away from you at $53, thereby locking in a $2 profit, of course, less whatever you paid for that contract, that debit spread. But you will realize $2 of intrinsic value there. Your true profit won't be $2 because you paid something for that spread when you opened it up a week or a month ago. Okay? So in this case, both options cancel each other out. You do not have to close them. However, some brokerage firms charge a exercise and assignment fee. Some brokerages disguise that fee and call it a commission for buying and selling stock. Okay? However you think of it, there is a fee involved. Other brokerages do not. So if you need to know how your brokerage handles this. If your brokerage, I happen to have accounts at Interactive Brokers, Thinkorswim, and Tastyworks. That's where my three main accounts are. At Tastyworks, this will cost you $5 and another $5. Okay? If you let this go into exercise and assignment. At Thinkorswim, it will cost you nothing, and at Interactive Brokers, it will cost you nothing. They'll just wash, they'll expire, they'll wash each other out, and there will be no fees, no charges, no commissions, no early exercise, no exercise assignment fees. Thinkorswim used to be $15 exercise assignment fee. That's why I quit trading there some years ago. Now I'm back to trading there again because they lowered their commissions and they eliminated their exercise and assignment fee. Okay? But it used to be $15 per strike. Okay? So this would cost you $30. It was actually only, I think, a year ago, maybe 2 years ago at the most. I think it was within the last year that they changed that program. So anyway, that was a great question, and I appreciate it. Thanks, Michael. Michael is a double eagle trader, by the way, and so is Leonard, and many of the traders who are in here today are also double eagle traders. Let's see, in this scenario where both calls are in the money and get exercise and cancel each other out. What if you don't have enough money in your account to buy the stock for that half of the exercise? Again, Tio, this goes back to the discussion earlier, and we are over time now. So I believe I've answered all the other questions in the room, but this goes back to the discussion earlier. If you don't have enough money in your account to buy the stock or to hold the stock short, okay? Because if you're holding stock short, you need to have margin. In other words, you need to have enough money in your account to satisfy the margin requirements. If you've been exercised and you and only one in a vertical spread, it doesn't matter that it was a vertical spread. The one option expires out of the money, and it expires worthless. The other option expires in the money, and whether it's long or short, whether it's a call or a put, if it's in the money, it's going to get exercised. You need to have enough money in your account, or your brokerage. And I've had this happen to me too before. I've had this happen where I got exercised, and I didn't have enough money in that particular account at the time to satisfy the margin requirement. And my broker was prompt in getting an email out to me saying, hey, you need to deal with this. And I did. I dealt with it immediately, very shortly after the open of trading that day. I don't remember if it was a short call or a long put or whatever the case was. I don't remember. But all you got to do is close that position. And there's no problem. The only problem is that you are exposed to that weekend or overnight risk. That's the only problem. If there's a huge gap one way or another, that may make the situation make the situation better for you or possibly worse. Okay. All right. Yeah, no, there's no program, Jay. It's a workshop. The Double Eagle is a workshop that I provide. We haven't provided this workshop. It's been 2 years since we provided an opportunity to participate in the Double Eagle workshop, and so this will be the first time in 2 years that we've offered this opportunity for people to get the training. It is a paid course, and I believe it's May 3rd. Let me look at the calendar quickly. Go here to May. Yeah, the workshop's going to start on May 15th, and it runs for 5 weeks. So it's an extensive, intensive training, and the introductory webinar will be on I guess May 4th. May 4th. I'm in 2021. Yeah, May 4th. I think the PowerPoint might have said it wrong. It might have said May 3rd, but whatever the case may be, it will be May 4th, and then the following Saturday, the 15th, is when the workshop starts. Okay, thanks everybody for being here. Thanks for your great questions and your time and participation. Look forward to seeing you again. Hopefully on May 4th, but we'll be here again for you here in 2 weeks on April 20th. Subject of discussion is not decided. I'm open to your suggestions. Please feel free to email me suggestions on webinar subject matter. Oftentimes that is exactly what motivates me to discuss a certain particular topic, is email questions or suggestions regarding the same. All right, goodbye for now, and good trading.